You're tuning into Ready, Set, Reset, where our goal is to help listeners reset their outlook by providing a closer look into behavioral and mental health in our youth. We visit with a range of professionals across the field to get their input and insight on what's really going on. Our first series kicks off with the Student Mental Health Chronicles, which features school counselors from across Texas, from public to private. This podcast is for educational and motivational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional training or personal therapy. Hello, and welcome to the Ready, Set, Reset podcast. I'm your host, Sierra O'Neill, licensed professional counselor and founder of Reset IOP. With me is my co-host, Ms. Penny Haight, licensed professional counselor, supervisor, and owner of Counseling by Penny and Associates. You're tuning in to an episode of our inspiring podcast that spotlights school counselors and the incredible work they do day in and day out with students. The content you'll hear on this podcast is focused on the struggles in the schools related to the mental health of our youth, providing weekly insight, resources, solutions to address the growing and ongoing issues that will support other school counselors, parents, teachers, and the students. Our guest today is school counselor Miss Maria, here with us today from the San Antonio area. Welcome, Miss Maria. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing great.
Good. We're glad to have you and appreciate you taking out the time to sit down with us. So can you tell us a bit about yourself and experience as a school counselor?
Well, I've been a school counselor for 20 years now, and the first 5 years I was a counselor in the middle school, and then wanted to move to another school or closer to home. And so I've been in the elementary school for the last 15 years.
Wow. Okay. So 15 years working with the elementary schoolers. So how was that transition coming from elementary to middle school for you?
I think it fit me well.
Okay.
With all the singing that you do with the kids
okay.
and the puppets. And so I think I enjoyed that a lot. I did enjoy the middle school students, but I think the elementary is a good fit.
Okay. Do you feel like the elementary schoolers are easier to get through to, or as far as connecting with?
Well, yes, I do. And just having those relationships with the students and encouraging them to make good choices. Whereas with the middle school students, they're kind of already established, but I loved having those relationships with them and encouraging them to make good choices. So, but I just think that elementary was it's just fun and having fun with the books that you teach them, through the books and the second step curriculum that I use.
Okay, awesome.
So tell me, what's your favorite bibliotherapy book?
There's so many, but I like a lot of ones that have like the kindness and even characters that talk to the students about making those good choices. So there's so many different books out there that fit in that category.
All right, Miss Maria. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump into some questions here, get to know your school counselor brain a little bit more. So as a school counselor, what made you want to become a school counselor compared to going into private practice or even exploring acute care?
Well, as a teacher in the middle school, I had some students who were struggling with just life issues, and I really wanted to learn how to work with them and talk with them about their struggles. And so that's what helped me to go into the counseling field. And so I liked spending that time with them individually.
Okay.
And I never really thought about going into private practice or anything like that, because I enjoyed being in the school system, and it was just an easier way for me to go into the school. And I don't really have any aspirations of going into private practice or anything like that, just because I enjoy being with the children in school and teaching them in that way.
Awesome. Okay. So when we talk about, private practice or acute care, I guess maybe when you run into, is it often that you run into any kids with any risk concerns?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And I remember when I first started counseling, it was like once a week, and now it's, in the middle school, but then you'd think it wouldn't be so much in the elementary, but there are so many students that are struggling with mental health issues. And so assessing them and then getting them the care that they need. And the interesting thing is that I've always been the only counselor, even in the middle school and in the elementary school. And just recently this year, last year, they added a half-time counselor.
Okay.
And this year they added a full counselor.
Wow.
And so what I found out is I think that the students who are self-harm issues, it's become less because I think there's just more of us also to provide that care. So it's working. Yeah, we have people there the counselors there that we needed.
Yeah. So what prompted the school to get you some additional support? Because I mean, you've been there several years, and it's like these last 2 years. Okay, here's a little support.
I think with the data too, because we do use Health Masters, and so the data speaks for that, and just the support of our district that's saying once we reach this number, then we're going to add somebody to use.
Okay, so your school's been growing pretty rapidly.
Yes.
Okay, and you mentioned Health Matters.
Health Masters.
Health Masters. What exactly is that?
Health Masters is where we put in the information about the student, like if we see them, so we're just documenting. We're documenting, and once the student leaves our school, or they go to another school, then it goes with them, so that the new counselor will know what has been going on with that student and what's working with the student.
Okay. And is that within the district or wherever they go? Like if they go outside the district, does that travel like a transcript?
No, it'd only be if they have the program, the Health Masters program.
Gotcha. Okay. So as far as any specific initiatives or activities that you've implemented to enhance the overall well-being of students, could you share some of those things with us?
Well, I'm excited because in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing these anxiety and stress workshops for the 3rd through 5th grade students. So it's not something I've done yet, but we're going to be going. There's just so much anxiety in the students and stress, and with testing, and also just even home things, school things, the social media, all of those things. The students are very stressed out. And so we're just planning these workshops that are going to be specifically for that.
Can you say some of the things that you're going to be doing in the workshops?
Well, I wanted to include some data. And so I'm going to do pre and post surveys for the students to see what they know about stress or anxiety, and then what they've learned at the end of it. But we're going to be playing bingo with them. And so for each item that we say, we're going to be talking about like things that breathing and, how to do that and what you can do before or during a test. So just those different items that we'll be talking about.
That sounds pretty exciting. I would definitely like to hear more when that rolls out. And will that be within just your school or the district?
It's just within our school.
Okay, so kind of starting there and maybe see where it goes.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So then as far as new school counselors, what advice would you give to new or aspiring school counselors who are entering the field with a focus on mental health?
Well, one day I'll be out, and so I want new ones to come in, and I want them to stay because it is a good field to be in, and it's rewarding, it's hard, and it's emotional, and all of those things that go with dealing with other people's emotions too.
Yeah.
But one thing is to plan, to have a way of documenting everything that works for you. I make my own calendar and my own book and write it in, and that's been working for me for like the last 10 years. I've been doing that, and I like to create it myself because it's mine. And then I put pictures of my family and dogs and stuff like that, so it makes it very personal. But whatever works for you. Another counselor went online and made her own, downloaded a calendar that worked for her. So we're all very different. The other thing is to consult. When we first started to consult about self-harm cases, I didn't want to do that because I had been a counselor for years. And I know that's part of our thing, but in our district, we have to consult with another counselor, and then we have to consult with a district person. And it was kind of like humbling because you've been doing that for years, but I learned so much through that with consulting and new ways of doing talking to the students or making sure that I'm doing the right thing.
What is something that was like a great information that you learned in the consulting that maybe something that you're like, because sometimes when we consult, we know the thing. We just like, I hadn't used that strategy in a while. So maybe it was one of those, but what's something that was like, it really stands out to you?
Well, I think something that stands out is that when we're consulting, I'm saying we're like agreeing and we are both on the same page. So it kind of helps you to know that you're still thinking the same way and that you know exactly what you're going to do. And so that helps. I think that's the biggest thing is that it just helped me to solidify that I'm doing the right thing and
support for you.
Yeah, the support.
For the person giving the care.
Exactly.
I'm on the right track. You're not missing this. This is where we're going with it. Yeah. I think we all need that. That consulting piece is so important. And whether you're a school counselor or in private practice.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And we're always learning something through each other. Yeah. So, yeah.
Look, it's an ongoing need. It's like there's the same problem sometimes, but there's always different ways to attack it and approach it because all kids are different. And even ourselves as the way we work. And, hey, I've never thought about that, but that would probably land well with this kid.
Yeah.
So one thing you mentioned with, your advice to school counselors, you said you want them to stay.
Yeah.
You want them to stay. So if you think about yourself personally, what made you stay? Why have you stayed so long after being a school counselor for 20 years?
Well, what's interesting too is being in the same school for 15 years.
Okay.
And I was just talking to a student that's a second grader and his brother's in 7th grade. And I totally remember his brother when he came in as a kindergartner. And I even say what teacher he had. I can't do that for everyone, but there's just those memories of certain families and just building those relationships that are so important.
Yeah. So. And given that foundation that you've built in your school where you've been so long, it's like the trust is a little bit easier. And so that one kid, it's like, oh, my brother knows you, or being able to connect there, and then that trust and being able to build that a lot faster. I can imagine the kids you can reach, and when the parents hear like, oh, you've got Miss Maria this year, make sure you lean on her. I remember when she was working with your brother. So that's pretty awesome. And again, I know, like you said, that does something for you as well, knowing just kind of still having that connection there. So, well, Miss Maria, I feel like we've had a great conversation today. I really appreciate, you being my guest today and providing additional insight in what you deal with day in and day out. And, before we close, I'm just wondering if there's anything that you could leave with our listeners, whether that be to the students, to other school counselors or parents. What's something that you would leave with them?
Well, just some other things that I was thinking of is building those relationships with the families, like I said, but also wearing comfortable shoes, because you may have to run and walk fast. And I've learned new skills like being a dog wrangler. If there's a dog around the school, I have to corral them, but you just never know what's going to happen. And also the main thing too is to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that you are getting what you need.
Yeah.
To be healthy.
Okay. And I think both of those things, kind of fall under the umbrella of flexibility because I've been in that place of like, I didn't have on good shoes one day and I've worked in programs and I'm like, okay, I've got to get down this hall faster than this kid, so you're always on the go and days can be very unpredictable, as a counselor across the board. And it's something that we have to embrace and just be ready for because it's something that we've committed to, and I appreciate the commitment that you have made, with over 20 years of experience and even with, one of our previous guest, Miss April, who has had over, 25 years of experience. We just really need more solid school counselors like that to have, consistency in the system and can be able to pick up on those areas where there needs to be change. So again, Miss Maria, I really appreciate your time today. And that is all for us today. Thanks for tuning in and taking time out of your day to listen in on mental health. And remember, sometimes all it takes is resetting your outlook. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ready, Set, Reset 1. Follow us on Instagram at ready_set_reset1 for mental health tips, laughs, and motivation. And if you know a student or have a child in the Fort Worth area that could use some additional support, visit our website at sunflowersigma.com to see if Reset IOP is right for them. You will find the resources discussed in today's podcast in the description area.